More updates, trying to still dial in the front end alignment 3 years later, but finally found out what the main issue is. So steps are going to be taken to fix it. It's literally one of the stupidest designs I've ever seen on a vehicle. If you look right here, these giant lower control arms, see how the bolts have moved on both sides. They're 100% torque to spec. Vehicles not driven aggressively per se. They continue to move. Every time I align it, those bolts move. In the next video, I'll show you the slots that they ride in. So basically, they're fixed control arms from the factory. So that's their alignment slot to align them. Because I have adjustable control arms, I don't need an alignment slot. So those are going to be filled, and hopefully this nightmare will be over, because this has been a royal pain in my ass since I've got the truck. Yeah, I've literally tried everything. They're torque to spec plus 20 pounds, and they still move. They still move a fair amount, as you can see. And if you notice, each side moved a different direction. So whatever. The front sway bar is also a little bit of the jarring because the angle it's at, because the axles move forward. These are from Carli, and they're for a Ram 3500. I asked if they'd fit a 55. Nobody had any idea. So I figure since they're $150, I'll just take the risk and buy them. Long story short, they're identical to the 55. So I have the sway bar moved down about an inch and forward about half an inch. And the ride is actually noticeably smoother. It's kind of bizarre that little bit made a huge difference. So you can see it here. The angles are a little bit better. I couldn't get the camera in there to get the good angle for reference on the sway bar, but those are also the Carli sway bar links also. So the Carli stuff for the 3500, some of it is identical for the 55, and they won't tell you that. So for the indoor shower, I'm basically using his FRP skins and cutting them and gluing them right to the 80/20. Some people do walls. I didn't want to waste the space, so I'm just using the skins. I was able to find it locally, so I had them cut it so it was nice and smooth, and you'll see how it comes out. So right here, this is obviously the upper cabinet. That's all going to have caulking in the gap. The lower one, I'm using the outdoor shower port inside. I'll explain that later. A little holes for the water pump. Just seems to be the best way to do it. That's all going to be caulking. And also redoing the countertop, as you can see there. So the countertop, there was really no need to have the inset stove. It just took up too much space, almost never used it. The Keurig was here, which made this seat a 90-degree angle, which was not comfortable. So now it's here, fully mounted. You'll see the outdoor shower port right here. So you can adjust the hot and cold right from here. I absolutely love how it works. So you'll be able to pop it off, put it right back in the cabinet when you're not using it. So you're not taking up any space with a bunch of shower crap bouncing around. And there's the water pump. That's a waterproof switch. And that's the same switch I've had since I started the camper. I just remounted it there. And it's nice and clean. I have a shower pan that's going to go there. Still working on that. So now you see I have a lot more counter space. I put in a much bigger sink because the other sink was just too damn small to be of any use. This is going to be a much better scenario, I think. So I have a portable induction that is basically identical to the inset one that I have. And usually you cook outside anyways. So now this is the same one. So this can be used inside or outside and makes life a lot easier. It also fits right here. It's just a much better scenario all around. So always work in progress. That's going to be a pop-up storage compartment at some point, but you get the idea. Much happier with how this is now. A little tiny sink drove me nuts. So for the indoor shower, I basically just tapped into the existing hot and cold lines the same way I plumbed the outdoor shower. It looks like kind of a mess, and I guess it kind of is, but everything's leak tested. Nothing leaks. All genuine shark bite fittings. Works really, really good. I have that HPV valve from the sink instead of a P-trap because I don't want any standing water that might freeze. So the new location, I'll show you in a minute when I go back outside, but the drain from the sink now just goes straight out. And this is the finished product. Here's the shower port right here. Open it, connect the hose, and close it when you're done. Doesn't take up any space. Yeah, that's all going to get caulking, as is this. That's obviously going to have a panel in there. This is going to be cut back so that the seat's angled. Because right now at a 90, it's just not comfortable. It's quite miserable. So it's going to be cut back at least 3 or 4 inches. Here's another look at the plumbing. So the drain comes right from the sink right here. Right down, right there. It's the only place I could jam it in there. I know it looks like a ghetto install, but you'll see in a second why it had to be right there. Everything's easy accessible and easy to work on if issues should arise. You see that little rubber stopper? That was the old sink drain, but now it's a drain for the floor in case of a flood. So now this is my outlet right here from the sink drain, which is going to tie into the gray tank, which is currently in process of being designed and finished. This has been a royal pain in my ass, mainly because of the way the subframe's constructed. This is the shower pan I'm using. It was about twice the size. I had to cut it right where you see that on the left side. Slopes down to the right. That's going to be the drain right there, obviously. Still going back and forth with how I'm going to do it because I need an odor eliminator right in place of a P-trap. So I found these little gizmos. Not 100% sure how good they're going to work. So this is still going to be trial and error. But I don't have room for a conventional P-trap, and I don't want standing water like a conventional P-trap because it might freeze. So these are basically one-way valves to keep the odor out. So we'll see if those work. Got lucky when I cut this and it ended up on the flat spot, so that's going to be good for the adhesive and for structural integrity. And this thing, the toilet's going to be on top of this, so it's going to be a wet bath. Still haven't 100% figured out how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to get it done. This is all new to me type stuff, so it's going to be trial and error before I actually cut that giant hole to route this through the camper. It's going to be a pretty significant hole, so I'll do a bunch of trial and error and make sure I do it right. How I'm going to tie that into the gray tank, I'm still not 100% sure. And this is another gizmo I found. It's basically a one-way valve. Not 100% sold on either one of them yet, so we'll see how that goes. I'll put links to both of those in my video at the bottom here. So here's the bottom of the shower pan. So you can see it's a much stronger construction than most of them. Most of them just have foam, which I'm a big heavy dude, and putting a toilet on top of it, it was just going to crush it. It wasn't going to work. So this is actually designed for a house, but I needed the strength, so there's no issues and the toilet's not going to crack it. Still toying with ideas of how I'm going to mount it.